Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Amanda Lemos and Angela Hill. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so we've got a big fight coming up here at 115 pounds between Amanda Lemos and Angela Hill. Now Amanda Lemos, relatively new, I think she's got about 4, maybe 5 fights in the UFC, 34 years old. So she's she's up there in age. Right, she's definitely starting to get near an age. No one would look at a 34-year-old and say, oh man, she's got all of her career in front of her. She's at the beginning of her career. She's been in the fight game for a long time. Hasn't been in mixed martial arts for a long time. Hasn't been in the UFC for a long time. But she's not new to combat sports. Angela Hill, on the other hand, she's a veteran of the UFC, man. Been here for a long time. Been particularly active as late. I'd say like the last 2.5 years, she has been cranking out the fights, incredibly active, working behind the booth, calling fights, color analysts, things like that. Busy individual when it comes to the fight game, constantly improving her game. All right, so let's start out, talk a little bit about Amanda Lemos, the one who's known a little bit less. Now, she is a striker, man, through and through. This woman steps in the octagon, she wants to tear your head off. You can see it in everything she does. Very, very heavy Muay Thai base. She comes out there, she's got that front foot is flat. It's all about the power. It's all about the leverage. Man, she's not that big, not that tall. But when you see her, she's got this strong stance, man, like she just owns the space. She wants to come out there, she's right in front of you, and she owns that space. She looks so strong for the division. Whenever you see her work inside the clinch, and the power. So here's the thing. She comes out, she can be aggressive or she can fight off the back foot. Can do both things. She can stay right in front of you. She can use these subtle little movements where she just kind of uses a little bit of lateral movement, a little to the left, a little to the right, just enough to kind of keep you guessing, give you a little bit different looks, kind of see what you're going to do, trying to get you to follow. Because she's a counterpuncher, man. She loves to counterpunch. Even when she's going forward, even when she's being aggressive on the front foot, she wants to walk you down, wait for you to make a move and counter. And when she does, man, she does it with authority. When she throws with authority. You look at her last 2 fights, drop both of those girls early. Her last fight. Go back and watch her last fight and see what happens when you have an incredibly experienced boxer. Well, I'll say boxer because she used her hands. She's Muay Thai. But incredibly experienced striker against someone who was a little bit less than incredibly experienced. Okay? Her opponent went to go start a combination. Man, Lemos beat her right to the punch. She slipped this right hand in there. It was so quick, so crisp, so smooth. You could tell that girl had absolutely no idea where it was coming from, that it was going to land. She didn't know anything about it. All she knew is she got caught, and it felt like she got hit in the head with a boulder. Okay? That was the beginning and the end. About 5 seconds later, she was out of there. Man, she had chicken legs right out the gate, got hammered on, lights out. Man, Lemos has real power. She's a finisher, and she does everything with bad intentions. Leg kicks, kicks to the body, throwing the right hand. The jab she has, she throws with intent. She's tough, man. She is tough. She is going to be a handful at 115 pounds. Turn that around. Standing across from her on the octagon, give it to Angela Hill. Now, I personally am a fan of Angela Hill. She doesn't necessarily seem to get the most buzz amongst the fan base, but I guess that's just how it is for some fighters, right? It's not necessarily about your style. It's not about your charisma. It's not. Sometimes people like you, sometimes people don't. Sometimes you generate a lot of buzz, and sometimes you don't. She just is one of those fighters that doesn't seem to generate a lot of buzz amongst the fans. But I always enjoy watching her go out there and fight. Now, she has got a striking-based stylist too, but it's much different. Not known for her power at all. Although I will say this, as her game has continued to evolve, and she's relatively new to combat sports in general. She didn't even start until she was in her mid-20s, didn't even do it to go out there and start hurting people, make a living. She was doing it to lose weight. Ended up loving it so much, just gets into it, boom. Here we are all this time later. Professional fighter, fighting in the biggest promotion in the world, right? So her game is still developing. She's not one of these people that's been doing it since she was 6 or 8 or 12 or anything like that. And one of the things that she's still developing in her game is her power. And it's because power takes everything. It takes your balance and your technique and the timing and the accuracy and the speed, and there's just so much involved. Not to mention the fact that you can only develop so much. Or God creates punchers. You're either born with power or you're not. There's dudes that got so much power, they got horrible technique, not that much speed, they're off balance, they hit you in the elbow and they'll drop you. Other guys, they do everything perfect. They got pillow fists. Couldn't break an egg. It's just the way it is sometimes. But she's been working on her power. She was known for not having any, known for having to be a busy fighter, having to outwork everybody, really good with technique and moving and everything. She's been working on her power. Utilized it against Michelle Waterson, utilized it against Claudia Gadelha. She was out there, she heard both people. Hit Ashley Yoder some good times as well. But her game is aggressiveness. She likes to come forward. She likes to stay busy. She wants to outwork you, wants to beat you to the punch, wants to counter you when she can. All in all, she brings a lot to the table in that regard. She has a really good jab. She's got a right hand that she can lead with, that she can counter with. She can use in combinations. She goes straight with it. She loops it around. She is constantly switching up her footwork, using little bits of lateral movement, constantly using feints with her upper body and feints with her hips. She can kick with both legs, kicks low, kicks to the body. She really, truly has all of the tools available. But she doesn't necessarily use them the greatest at all times. Doesn't necessarily marry the offense and the defense very well together. Has to fight going forward. So if you can push her back, her game drops considerably. So the question is, when these two are in there on Saturday night, what's it going to look like? Who's going to come out with the victory? I'm going with Amanda Lemos on this one. She doesn't have as much experience. In some ways, she doesn't have quite as many tools available to her. We see a lot more from Angela Hill, particularly with the feints and the footwork and the lateral movement and the controlling the distance. She does all that. But Amanda Lemos is an assassin. She goes out there, she throws everything with power. Her striking is crisp. It is clean. That right hand that she has is nothing to be played with. The way she throws those leg kicks, man, they're going to be a problem for anybody. Angela Hill has to come forward. Angela Hill has to be the busier fighter. Angela Hill has to have a higher work rate if she's going to beat you. She's got to go out there and put it on you and make those things happen. When she's at her best, she finds a rhythm and a flow. She's controlling the distance. She's able to land that jab and kind of get that timing going. Constantly keep her opponent guessing with the way that she's able to mix everything up and the way that she's working her angles and everything. She's not going to be able to do that at all against Amanda Lemos. She's a counterpuncher. She's got great timing. She's got faster hands, faster combinations, and much more power. Angela Hill's going to try to come in there, try to get her game going, and she is going to find nothing but heat, nothing but trouble. Lemos is going to be able to sting her with those counters. She's going to be able to hurt her. It's going to completely throw Hill's game off. To be honest, if she tries to force the issue, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets stopped. With the amount of power that Lemos has, and as good as she is with her striking, the fact that Hill's not going to be able to change this game and take it down. She's not a wrestler. She's got some good defensive takedown wrestling. Right, I follow her on Instagram. She's been working on her wrestling because she's been taken down, and that's how she lost her fights. Look at how she lost to Gadelha. Look how she lost to Waterson. Look how she lost to Torres.